Okay, so we're trying to find here the probability of a domino having 8 spots or 9 spots. If we count the number of spots, this one's got 7, this one's got 8, this one's got 6, we've got 7, 8, 9, 8, and that's 9. So the probability that he takes a domino with 8 or 9 spots, well, if we look at how many dominoes have 8 or 9 spots, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other words, that's just 5 out of the 8 dominoes altogether. Okay, so what happens now is that Riaz takes two dominoes, but he doesn't replace the first domino before he takes the second. And the question now says, what is the probability that the total score on the 2 dominoes is 18? Now, the only way that you can get a total score of 18 is by getting a 9 followed by a 9. So the question is saying, what is the probability that he gets a 9 on his first domino, and he also gets a 9 on his second domino? Okay, so let's have a look at the probability that his first domino is a 9. Well, there are 2 dominoes with a 9, so in other words, the probability that the first domino he picks has a 9 or has 9 spots is going to be 2, because it's 2 dominoes out of a possible 8. Now we're going to multiply because the situation here is and, but we have to be very careful. Once he's chosen his first domino, there are only actually, this domino has now disappeared, there are now only 7 dominoes left, of which one of them is a 9. So the probability that his second domino is a 9 is only 1 now out of a possible 7. In other words, the probability, if we multiply those two together, well, I can simplify 2 and 8 to become a quarter. So the probability that he gets a 9 followed by a 9 is actually just 1 times 1. Well, that's just 1. 4 times 7 is 28. So the probability there is just 1/28. Okay, now we're looking for the probability that the total is not 18 rather, but the total is 17. And the only way that you're going to get a total to be 17 using these dominoes is by doing 9 and 8, getting a 9 and an 8. Now we have to be careful here because it could be that you get a 9 first, in which case it would have to be an 8 second, or it could be that you get an 8 first and then a 9 second. So let's look at the probabilities of those happening. Now 9 first, so I should here have written and, so it could be a 9 first and an 8 second, or an 8 first and a 9 second, because that's important for whether to multiply or add. Now the probability of getting a 9 first, let's just remove my rubbing out there so it's not too confusing. Okay, there's my 9, so that 9 is still in use, so there's the 9. Probability of getting a 9 first, well, there are 2 of them out of a possible 8, and I'm going to multiply that by getting an 8 second. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3 8s, but I've got to be careful because if I've chosen a 9, I've only actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. So it could be that I get a 9 first and an 8 second, or, and remember with probability that is add, I could get an 8 first, well that's 1, 2, 3 out of the possible 8 dominoes, multiplied by getting the 9 second, well there's 2 9s to choose from, but there are only actually 7 dominoes left if I've removed one of the 8s. Now if I work those out, I've got 2 3 6 out of 8 7s are 56, plus another 6 56ths. To add the two fractions together, 6 and 6 is 12, don't add the bottoms, comes out as 12 56ths. Now I can divide by 2 to get 6 28ths, I can divide again to get 3 14ths. So the probability of getting a total score of 17 is 3/14.